Hey, welcome. Today, we're diving into a really important topic, responsible AI. And we're going to look at it through the lens of an article by Jamal Taharin, specifically by exploring what happens when these incredibly powerful AI systems get it wrong and what we can learn from those failures. Look, we all know AI is changing just about everything. How we get a loan, how companies hire people, you name it. It promises to make things so much more efficient. But we've got to ask the tough question. What are the real-world consequences when these systems fail? Because it's not just some technical glitch. We're talking about things that can be deeply unfair, really costly, and sometimes even dangerous. So to really get to the bottom of this, the author, Jamal Taharin, kind of breaks the problem down into a few key pillars of responsibility. We're going to walk through them one by one and look at the big questions that every single organization using AI needs to be asking itself right now. So here's our game plan. We'll start with what to do when good AI goes bad, then dig into why we need to fix the data, not just the tool. We'll talk about consent, the role of the human in the loop, and our right to an explanation. And we'll wrap it all up by talking about our responsibility to act. All right, let's jump in. First up, bias. Okay, picture this. Your company's fancy new hiring AI starts unfairly favoring certain candidates over others. What do? I mean, this is a massive decision point for anyone using these tools. Well, you've really got two choices here. Your gut reaction might be to just scrap the biased AI altogether, right? But if you do that, you lose all the benefits and efficiencies it brought in the first place. The smarter move, the right solution, is to go back to the source of the problem, which is almost always the data. By retraining the AI with better, more balanced data, you fix the root cause without having to throw the whole tool away. And this all boils down to one really powerful, memorable idea. Fix the data, don't throw away the tool. It tells us that the problem usually isn't the algorithm itself, it's what we've been feeding it. The real responsibility is in how we curate and correct that data. So, fixing our data is step one, but that immediately leads to the next question, where did we even get that data? And this brings us to consent, which, let's be honest, is so much more than just a little checkbox on a form. See, data consent isn't just about covering your legal bases. At its absolute core, it is the foundation of trust. It's that agreement that gives users real control and assures them that their information is being used fairly, honestly, and for the reasons they agreed to. The author uses this fantastic analogy to make it all click. Imagine you let a friend borrow your car for a specific trip, maybe just to the grocery store. But then you find out they took it on a road trip across the state for something you never, ever agreed to. That feeling you'd have, that sense of betrayal, that total violation of trust, that is exactly what happens when a company uses our data for something we never consented to. Okay, so let's say we have unbiased data and we have proper consent. Does that mean we can just let the AI run the show on its own? Not so fast. Our next question is all about drawing a line in the sand, about figuring out which high-stakes decisions absolutely, positively must have a human in the loop. And we see this in a few really critical areas. Think about hiring. Sure, an AI can screen resumes, but a human has to make that final call on someone's character and cultural fit. Or financial lending. An algorithm can check a credit score in a second, but a person has to consider someone's unique circumstances. And of course, in healthcare, an AI might spot patterns in a scan, but only a doctor should ever decide on a course of treatment. And the reason why is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly profound. It's because these decisions impact people's lives, their livelihoods, and their basic dignity. And for that reason, you just can't outsource accountability to a program. It has to rest with a person. Always. This brings us to our final pillar, explainability. If an AI, even one with a human overseeing it, makes a huge, life-altering decision about you, shouldn't you have the right to know why? This isn't just a tech question. It's a fundamental legal and ethical one. Let's make this really concrete. An AI rejects your loan application. An AI flags you for extra security screening at the airport. If you don't get an explanation, you're just left powerless. In those moments, because the computer said so is just not an acceptable answer. You deserve a real reason. So how do we actually put this into practice? Well, the solution proposed is a risk-based approach, which makes a lot of sense. For low-risk decisions, like an AI recommending a song you might like, an explanation is basically optional. But for high-risk decisions that really affect someone's life, like denying that loan, the right to an explanation should be a legal requirement. It's a really practical way to make sure accountability is focused where it matters most. Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground, right? We talked about bias, consent, human oversight, and explainability. So now let's tie it all together and look for the common thread that runs through every single one of these points. So what is that common thread? It's us. It's all about human responsibility. Fixing bias, that's a human choice. Respecting consent, that's a human commitment. Keeping a human in the loop, demanding explanations, all of these are acts of human governance. The machine doesn't decide this stuff. We do. And this really leaves us with a powerful final thought from the author. AI isn't about creating tech that just manages itself. It's about our duty as professionals, as citizens, as a society, to actively guide these tools to make absolutely sure that they are serving people and not the other way around. So that leaves us with one last question to think about. I want you to look at the AI that's already in your world, the apps you use every day, the systems at your job, the services you rely on. After everything we've just talked about, ask yourself, is it truly serving people? That's the challenge and the responsibility that this explainer leaves us with. Thanks for watching.